Welcome, everyone. We're so glad to have you join us. I hereby call our official 2022 annual meeting to order. So next slide, Gretchen. We have a lot of great things to cover today. So we'll be doing some introductions and introducing you to your 2023 Board of Directors, reporting out on a lot of the exciting things committees have conducted over the past year and plans for the coming year. Talk about the member and have a vote about the membership dues increase, and talk about additional opportunities to engage with us. So we'll go ahead and dive right in. You may have seen me around. So I'm Michelle Raymer. I'm your current board president, and I am pleased to be joined today by Kathy Thoma, your incoming Alive president-elect, and a number of other board members and committee members who will be hosting our annual meeting today and reviewing and sharing about the many exciting accomplishments we've had over the past year, and then also talking about our plans for the future. So you'll see here on the screen our mission and vision. And so at Alive, we really continue to hold that mission and vision at the core of what we're doing and our plans, and it really guides our decisions and actions. And so we're really committed to continuing to be able to develop programming, resources, and other opportunities that support leaders in volunteer engagement and advancing the sector and the profession. And so with that, we've really used that mission and vision as part of developing our roadmap and our strategic plan for that we came together in 2020 to create this. And I'm really proud to say that despite the pandemic and certainly many other things that we couldn't have anticipated when we last came together, we have either met or are well on our way to meeting everything that we outlined in this plan that is scheduled to go through 2024 to meet all of those goals by the end of 2023. And as you'll be hearing, we have even more things than we could have even imagined when we were starting that plan that we've started. So we've improved internal systems and processes. We've expanded our reach. We've increased the quality and quantity of offerings for our members. And so in light of this, and as well as a lot of other opportunities we're hoping to leverage here in the future, we plan on holding another board retreat in 2023 to really help map out the future from here of what else we want to accomplish. So there's a lot of great things planned. And so with that, I'm pleased to pass things over to Kathy to introduce the incoming board of directors that will help lead us forward in that work.
Hello, everyone. It's my pleasure to be here today, and it's also my pleasure to introduce you to your 2023 Board of Directors. This was a wonderful slate of nominees, which you voted on and approved. And as you can see, we have many new board members, though not new to volunteering with your association. So I'd like to extend a congratulations to everyone, and we're looking forward to working with everyone in 2023. Next slide, please. Here's a look at where your representatives are coming from. This year, we happen to be heavier on the East Coast side. It hasn't always been that way. A couple of years ago as West Coast, but we're always looking to even that out and have equal representation. But we do have representation throughout our national association. So we appreciate that. And if you are ever interested in serving on the board, please remember to put your nomination in starting next year. Next slide, please.
Yeah, so we're thrilled to be bringing on such a phenomenal new slate of board members, but also recognize that we couldn't have accomplished what we have without many, many people who have served on the board. And so just want to take a moment to thank all of our outgoing board members who have stepped off the board in 2022. So a huge thank you for them. They've all, added to the work of Alive in a number of different ways, and all of their support is so greatly appreciated. I also want to take a moment to give a special thanks to Megan Vixie, who is hitting her term limit for us for her many years of leadership with Alive and promises of continued engagement as a volunteer with us, serving as VP of Marketing as well as President-elect and 2 years as President of Alive. So many thanks to Megan and to all of these board members for what they've helped us accomplish. And so to help carry out our strategic plan, we engage with our board members and with this structure to help make sure that we're able to keep the many things that we have going happening. And so we have leadership of committees who then engage members as volunteers and others as volunteers within our organization to help move this work forward. So a huge thank you to those that are involved. And so on the next slide, you'll see a list of some of the many people who have volunteered their time on committees or special projects or ad hoc committees to help make the work of Alive possible. And as you can see, it really does take a village. So it's really because of so many of you who've stepped up to help and add your skills and expertise in so many ways that we have done what we have. And so over 1,600 hours of volunteer time has been donated to Alive in the past year. And certainly like us, like anyone, I'm sure that doesn't even begin to capture all the hours that have been given and the time and talent. So huge thank you to everyone for what you've helped us accomplish. All right, so now we're going to dive in a little bit more to providing updates about all the things that we've done over the past year and then some of our plans moving forward. So it has been a big year, 2022. We've done a lot, and not the least of which is submitting a successful proposal to Points of Light to take on administration of Service Enterprise. So for those who maybe aren't familiar with Service Enterprise, a Service Enterprise is an organization that really effectively leverages volunteers across all levels of the organization to meet their mission. And the Service Enterprise program helps organizations get to that level by going through an assessment, coaching, training, and a certification, all led by a network of amazing, talented hubs and leaders across the country. And so Alive is now going to be administering that program to help provide support to those hubs that are providing this training and supporting those organizations and help share more information about Service Enterprise and its power to funders and nonprofits and government organizations across the country. And so organizations, as they go through this process, they really begin to understand the critical nature of effective volunteer engagement as a strategy. So they really think about strategic volunteer engagement. And with that, they also recognize the importance of having a qualified volunteer engagement professional to lead that work and sit at the leadership table to move strategic volunteer engagement as a strategy within the organization, not a program off to the side. And so we see this as aligning really well with our mission to help advance the profession and the sector and really advance volunteer engagement as a whole. So we're so excited about that. And certainly that will be a big piece of our plans moving forward. So we have gone through a process of selecting contractors who will, using a group of stakeholders of hubs to help identify those contractors, and already have contracts in place and are working with them to transition things over to Alive from Points of Light and really start to build from there. So we're excited to be working with such a qualified team. We've also, as an organization generally, developed a dashboard for identifying metrics to help us track how we're doing with, participation in our live academies or engagement in our social media or participants in our communities of practice to see how we're doing and where we're growing and where areas that need attention. So we've been excited to create that dashboard so we can really in real time see where we're at across the organization. We've also worked on improving our board exit and onboarding processes to make sure that we're able to, stay in touch with people and find new ways for people to find new roles to stay involved with Alive. Something I'm really excited to share about, and certainly you'll be hearing more in the coming year, is we've begun to launch a volunteer engagement professional job leveling project. So this is a project that is working with a consultant in job benchmarks and compensation to help really create some standards around the different levels of expertise that are needed in the volunteer engagement field. So that way there's some benchmarks to look at for, what does it look like to be an entry-level professional in the volunteer engagement space, a middle manager or a senior leader in volunteer engagement, what competencies and skills are needed for each of those roles, and what are some benchmarks for what compensation should look like. And we hope that this project will then lead into being able to advocate to the Department of Labor for volunteer engagement to be listed in a profession in their listings. And not only listed, but also with different categories. So we're really excited about the opportunity to provide this leadership for the sector, and there will be a lot more opportunities to be involved, as we'll look to all of you to help spread the word to your networks when we get to a point where we need to start surveying people to get representative samples of the profession. So more to come there, but super thrilled about that opportunity. And we've also joined as a member of IAVE to make sure we're connecting at the international level with volunteer engagement to help share and bring those resources to our members and stay connected in that way. And we continue to regularly look at our organizational structure to see, make sure that it makes sense for the programming that we offer. So that's, a piece of what we've done for 2022. And then looking into next year, we're planning again to host that board retreat and strategic planning session to lead the way for the coming 5 years. We'll really be focusing on succession planning and making sure that we have, good stability in our leadership and plans. We'll be looking at really launching more with Service Enterprise, creating an advisory committee of stakeholders to help give input and lead that work, and then implement the plan that we had proposed to really advance Service Enterprise across the country. And then finalizing that volunteer engagement professional job leveling project and beginning to work on the Department of Labor occupational handbook. So there'll be a lot of work in that project, and then sharing out the results of that with you all, so that way you can start leveraging that in your communities. So as with any of this, as we have people reporting out today, if you have questions or want to get more involved with a specific thing, definitely feel free to reach out to any of us with those questions. You can put them in the chat now. Otherwise, just feel free to reach out, and we'd love to talk and hear your feedback and input, and think about how we can do more moving forward. So with that, I'll pass things over for the treasurer's report.
Michelle, treasurer or secretary?
I'm sorry, jumping order. Sorry, actually secretary's report. So Nicole, if you want to go ahead and jump in and share here.
Sure. Okay. So we just want to talk a little bit about what we've done and accomplished this year. We were able to conduct an annual review of our policies, procedures, bylaws, and position descriptions, getting them up to date so that as people come in and they want to volunteer or they want to join committees, they have an idea of what they're doing, clear communication of what they need to do, and just an understanding of how the organization works, should there be any questions. We moved onboarding documents to an electronic signature option, which, as you can imagine, just makes things a lot easier across the board just to have things digitally. We launched the use of Better Impact for volunteer tracking. Imagine that alive as a volunteer organization. We were having trouble tracking our own stuff. So this has just made it a lot easier, and we are so excited to be working with Better Impact. Some of you may have already, who are on committees, may have already started using it, and it's already like just so much easier on the front end and the back end. So we are very excited about that. We began the development of the recognition component for volunteers, developing our volunteer recognition program, and developing and launching satisfaction survey to volunteers, because as we know, your voice is important. So we just want to hear how things are going so that we can better continue to improve how we are making the volunteer onboarding process, as well as just being able to make sure that people have what they need in order to feel like they are prepared to volunteer in the best way that they can. And we added a few committee members. So what we're looking forward to next year is conducting the review of internal volunteer engagement process and accompanying documents. So making sure, kind of like just working through and updating and streamlining the process by which volunteers come into the organization and be able to do what they need to do, because we don't want them to get all caught up in the steps to get there and then figure out that they don't want to do it anymore. So really streamlining that to make it as easy as possible. And it's part of the retention process. And you all know about it. I know I'm preaching to the choir. So we're working on that. And we're really excited about that. Finalizing and launching the recognition component for volunteers. So everybody who is volunteering for Alive, as we know, making sure to recognize people in the way that is important to them is very important. So we just want to really make sure that people know that they are being appreciated for their most precious gift that they are giving to us, which is their time. Onboarding a new secretary. That would be me. I'm not onboarding myself. We have somebody that is going to be onboarding me and helping me learn the ropes so that I can be the best that I can be for the organization and serving you all, and reviewing current partnerships and discounts under our new structure. So those are the things that we are looking for and looking forward to in 2023.
Awesome. Thank you, Nicole. And now we'll pass things over to Christy with the treasurer's report.
Thanks, Michelle. Hi, everyone. I'm Christy. This is my first year as the treasurer, so it's certainly been a steep learning curve, but I appreciate the board and Gretchen with all their help in getting me up to speed rather quickly with our finances. So as far as our accomplishments this past year, one of the big things that we always must do is file our filings with the IRS. So that has been taken care of. What I would say is part of that, moving into the CPA, with the addition of the service enterprise, that takes us to a kind of a different level with our finances. So we have engaged and hired a professional CPA. We're not just doing Excel spreadsheets now, but actual financial reports, which are really important for many different reasons, just to make sure we maintain our exemption status, as well as when we go out to seek sponsorships and partnerships. That is really important information that we need to have. So we have engaged with our CPA, and he'll be providing the professional monthly reports. We have QuickBooks now, and filing our annual returns. And another component of his work is actually compliance checks to ensure, again, that we're sitting well with the IRS. This past year, we've had monthly finance meetings, and we've recruited 2 new finance members. I'm not sure why no one wants to be on the finance committee, but it's a fun committee. So if you're interested in finances, please join our committee. We'd be happy to have you. So some goals for this next year. Obviously, we want to keep our financial information safe. So we're always making sure, and we'll be investigating, better security to make sure that we have our financials. We don't lose any financials through hackers and such. We'll also be exploring potential grant funding and applying that to our 2023 budget. Again, with the service enterprise work, that leads to additional fiscal policies that we'll need to put in place in order to ensure, we have everything nicely sewn up and compliance. And then the other thing is we're just always exploring is with payments, whether they're membership dues or those things related to service enterprise. We want to make sure that, when we take payments, that we're just being fiscally responsible to reduce payments, because when we take payments, there is an expense to that, PayPal, et cetera. So we're just exploring those options to see if there is a better way to reduce expenses. So on the next slide, you'll see just our budget for the 2022 for this year, as well as where we are year to date, and then our variances. Now, just keep in mind, all these numbers are through October. So I'm an eternal optimist, and we have 2 more months. with expenses and income. So hopefully we'll see some more dues come in and other things to end the year really well. But you'll see that we have. But just in general, you can see our variances listed there. The one thing that I would just note, a couple of things. With our administrative fees, we had a certain budget for that, but our contract changed after we had set our budget last year around this time. So that's why there is a variance there of the $4,000. And then of course, with Service Enterprise, we did not budget for that. We had no knowings of what was going to happen last year at this time related to Points of Light and Service Enterprise. So that certainly has been a big shift in our finances. So you can see we're ahead of the plan as of October as far as our budget for 2022. And then if you go to our expenses on the next slide, of course, we're always going to be cognizant of making sure that we have the best use of our financial resources. So we're always looking for ways to decrease expenses. But you can see in general where we are with our budget variances. Again, this is as of October, so we're going to have some more expenses coming in through the end of the year. But you can see overall, we're still under our budget for 2022. Again, just knowing that we have some other expenses coming through the end of the year. And then on the next slide, you can just see our overall variance again. Point with the Service Enterprise, a game changer, for the organization. So that's why we're ahead of the budget right now, but we'll be utilizing funds certainly over the next year with related Service Enterprise. And then you can just see kind of where we are, our current cash on hand. Again, a lot of that can be attributed to some grants and such for Service Enterprise. And then on the next couple of slides, this is our budget for 2023. So you can see, what we have planned for our budget for income dollars there. And then on the next slide, you're going to see some expenses as well, total expenses there. And again, we're just trying to do our best with what we know now, knowing that, Service Enterprise certainly could certainly change some of these. And then on the next, and this is what I want to say on the next slide, if you look at our projected budget, now you're going to see a very big variance there. That is because the organization, we are on a cash basis, not an accrual. So some of the grant dollars that we received for Service Enterprise, knowing that it was starting later and or early 2023, we received this calendar year. So we can't save that money and put it in starting January 1st. We have to, again, account for it on a cash basis. So it was included in this year, even though it technically wasn't budgeted, but knowing that, those are funds that we'll be using moving forward in 2023, and still a very, healthy bank account balance to ensure that, again, we have those funds available to make sure that we're offering programs and services that are so important to our membership and can continue on with that important work. And just on the next slide, I just want to say thank you to our donors and our continued supporters of the organization. We appreciate all your continued support. And the only other thing I just remind everybody is that, if you can't you don't have any extra funds lying around, so you can't make a donation, that's okay. You can go into Amazon Smile and list Alive as your donation, and then a portion of your funds of your purchases will be donated back to the Alive. So if you have any questions about that or can't figure that out, please let me know and I can walk you through that. It's not the easiest thing to do, but it can happen. So I'm happy to walk anybody through that. So thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Christy. And I think now we're passing it over to Allison.
Oh, I think I'm going to jump in here.
Ashley.
This is Ashley.
All right.
So I'm thrilled to share with you the membership report of the survey that we did in 2022 between September and October. It really showed that our participants in Alive are engaged. Almost 93% have visited our website in the last 2 months, and almost 55% are reading the newsletter from beginning to end. So they're really gravitating to the information that we're sharing and making the best use of it. 82% are interested in volunteering with Alive. And I think as we've been going along in this presentation, and as we will continue to do, there are lots of opportunities to volunteer with Alive. 45% nearly are already involved with volunteering. So if you haven't and you're interested, I highly encourage you to do so. And speaking of engagement, if we go to the next slide, it shows how many areas our members have participated in the last 12 months. Overall, the majority of them, about 72%, have attended an Alive Academy. Other popular areas are joining a live community of practice, using some of the resources on our webpage, and attending the hybrid conference that we just completed last month. So those are fantastic numbers. It shows a lot of engagement with our members across a variety of different spectrums, which also is highlighted on the following slide. If we go to the next slide. And in this slide, it shows what the importance of each of our membership benefits are. There's so many membership benefits with Alive. It's really quite a high value that you get out of the membership. As you can see, there's a variety of different choices where members can get involved, and they really are getting involved. Almost 70% are involved with the Alive Academy webinars, community of practice, the hybrid conference like we mentioned, the mentorship program, which is a fantastic resource, both for mentors and mentees. And of course, our resource library. This just goes to further emphasize the engagement levels that we saw on the last slide. I'm going to pass it over now to Allison, and she's going to report on the next slide for you.
Hey guys, so in 2022, our accomplishments were, we had 14.3 membership increase compared to 2021. And I think, you know, certainly we're also noticing all of the new options that are coming on board for us that we are definitely taking a great advantage of. We also established a pay what you can option for public to donate funds, and will roll out in 2023. So when you do you know, become a member again and you pay your membership, there is a section that you can have on there, as well as I believe on the website, that will allow you to essentially donate some money for those who unfortunately are not able to pay their dues or get something. So there's definitely something that we want to do to help those that, you know, we don't want membership and the opportunities that this organization provide to be a barrier for anybody. So that is now in place. We recommended changes to Alive membership fees to roll out in 2023, and we will be voting on that in just a little bit. But with all of the opportunities that now exist, you know, we have grown into a bigger, better organization, and it is time to be able to cover more of the things that we want to do. We completed 3 videos starring the marvelous Dana Litwin, Nicole Smith, and Tim Suda to promote Alive membership, and it was launched online in November. And if you haven't watched them, they're on our website, and they're great. They're a great tutorial on how to use different aspects of the website and just helping you understand how to navigate a little bit better. And it's just something to ease you into the opportunities that we can provide for you. So it's a really great introduction for our website that also went under a little bit of a change this year. And in 2023, our goals is to create an Alive ambassadors program. So we do want to be known for more. We do want to pilot recruitment partnerships with national entities. There are some very large organizations out there, such as Habitat for Humanity. I work for a zoo. I'm part of the Association of Zoos and Aquariums. There's other entities that are just huge. And those would be great groups to partner with and get more representation from. And then we want to identify reports to share on members only section of the website to just really figure out what is working for us all. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to jump in to talk about local associations. We have really knit together a great little network of local associations from all across the country, and people sharing ideas and commiserating around challenges and offering people solutions to challenges that they have overcome in the past. So we added a new committee member, and while I'm talking about committee members, I would love to give a shout out to the people who do all the work on this committee: Mary Lynn Perry, Jerry Pinozzo, Jennifer Thompson, Amanda Schmeirer, and Tim Suda, and of course, the incomparable Gretchen Jordan, who keeps all of the cats herded and all of the plates spinning. We did quarterly communities of practice for local associations. If you didn't attend one of those, maybe you're not part of a local association or it wasn't didn't work for your schedule, some of those are recorded. We did topics ranging from equity in leadership to how to use TikTok and to leveraging TikTok and social media for your organization. And a lot of the content is applicable not just to local associations, but to volunteer programs generally. So you might find something interesting and of use there. We refreshed, and Amanda mostly did the work on this, refreshed our local associations handbook and mentorship program. We did our third annual local association summit. We had 38 organizations represented. It was a great opportunity to network and discuss topics that the group elevated as the most important. So it was a really great group who met this year. For next year, we are hoping to add an additional member. So if you are passionate about local associations like I am, please join us. It's a really fun group. We would love to increase the number of local associations who are attending. As you might imagine, there has been some churn happening in the last couple of years with COVID and the impacts that vary across the country. And so we would love to continue to build our network of folks who are involved. We are hoping to present at the at national conferences on local topics that are relevant to local associations. And we intend to review and enhance our the benefits to local associations based on feedback that we've received from them. So making sure that we're meeting the needs of the members, particularly the local associations who are members as an association. And another little project we have is we would love to create a speaker list from past live events that local associations could utilize. So as people are setting up conference opportunities or workshop opportunities across the country, they have a go-to list of people who have presented with Alive as topic experts. And so that would be a great resources for local associations. If you've ever scrambled to find a speaker, it would be great to have a list to work from. So we're working towards that as well.
All right. And so as was mentioned briefly, we are looking to take a vote on a dues increase. And so since Alive was founded in 2009, we have not raised our dues. So over some period of time now, in fact, during COVID, we were especially committed to remaining affordable to all of our members. We had even created a payment deferment program so that way members would have continued access to Alive if for some reason they weren't able to pay during that time period, knowing that it was a very challenging time for nonprofits. And in that time, though, we've continued to grow a lot. We've expanded our offerings significantly, needed to add Zoom accounts and other things like that. And also just want to remain committed to practicing what we preach. We talk about the importance of fairly compensating the people who work in volunteer engagement. And we want to make sure we hold that true for the contractors that we pay to do this very critical work. And so with that, the membership committee has been having discussions for, I would say, many years, but the past 2 years or so, especially, really looking at membership dues and the best approach in looking at what those amounts should be. They've done research into other national professional organizations similar to Alive in different sectors, and saw that we were like a quarter of the cost of many of our peer organizations. And so with that, worked hard to develop a proposal that was then taken to the board. There's a lot of discussion around how we, keep equity at the center of what we do and remain accessible to everyone. And so there's a plan in place to include a pay what you can option for those who the cost might be prohibitive, and a really great resource was identified to help people kind of work through, if that might apply to them or not. And then also implementing a plan for people to be able to donate and kind of pay it forward to help cover some of those costs for a member who might not be able to pay. And so with that, the membership committee worked really hard and brought forward this plan out of the committee that was agreed upon, and then it was voted on by the board and agreed upon. And so with that, we'd like to bring it to you all for a vote from the membership. So per our bylaws, anytime we want to change the membership fee structure, we need to take it to you. And so with that, we ask that you go ahead and vote on whether or not, yes, you'd agree to this increase in membership dues or not. So we have a poll open for you to go ahead and go in and vote, and then we'll be able to collect those responses. So the negotiable would be, and Emily, if you have questions, feel free to put those in the chat, and we can, our membership committee members can try to address them, or Gretchen or I as well. So yes, please go ahead and put those questions that you have. And so this is open for all of our members, not just board members to vote. The board itself has already passed it. So there was a question from Whit about defining negotiable a bit more, looking at both purchases. And so I think my understanding, and I'll invite the membership committee members to jump in here if I'm misspeaking at all, is that that would kind of be taken on a case-by-case basis. If there was an organization that wanted to purchase memberships for, 60 members or something like that, working with them to identify what that is.
That's correct, Michelle. And we are
and so the pay option, I'll put a link to the document or the resource that was shared with us and frankly,
November newsletter as well.
Great. Thank you, Gretchen. And so I'll put it in the chat as well. But frankly, I think it's a great resource for anyone who provides programming that's trying to look at a good way to do a sliding fee scale or things like that. We had discussed what that would look like, or having people apply for a scholarship, but in the end really discussed that we thought it was, best for people to kind of make that determination. And so we'd kind of provide the link in the chat as a guide for helping to people identify for themselves what they're able to pay. And so then the scholarships would really just be for people to donate, and any donations then would help to cover the gap between the full cost of membership and what people are able to pay. Yeah, and so Emily, it wouldn't be, there isn't a formal application program. It would just be people decide for themselves what they're able to pay or not. Great questions.
So we have 49 folks that have voted. And
All right.
we've kept the voting open for about 3 minutes. I'm going to keep it open another 45 seconds for 4 minutes. If anybody needs assistance voting or wants to send it to me in a private message, you may do that. And this is an anonymous vote. It doesn't, I'm going to show the results, but it doesn't show who voted which way.
Mm-hmm. And our membership committee has worked on developing some talking points for people to be able to bring that to, if your employer does pay for your your membership of some talking points in order to take this back to, leadership or whoever else you would need to be able to talk about that change in cost.
Okay, Michelle, we've had the voting open for about 4 minutes and we've got 45 of 49 votes. So I'm going to go ahead and close the poll. So we definitely have a majority of the folks have voted, and I'm going to share the results.
All right. So based on the voting, it looks like the motion passes, or the proposal passes. So thank you everyone for voting and for your great questions. And yes, continue to reach out if you have questions as we're rolling this out, and we'd be happy to answer those. And maybe if membership committee or Gretchen, if you can keep watching the chat and answer any additional questions that come in as we go. And with that, I'll pass things over to Kathy for the programs and advocacy report.
Thank you, Michelle. It was my pleasure to serve as the Vice President of Programs and Advocacy this year, and I want to thank all of the committee members for actually working so hard to accomplish our 2022 goals. This past year, we were able to host 11 monthly Alive Academies. We increased our communities of practices to 19 active groups. We continued Emerging Leaders Mentor Program in the spring and the fall. And as of this fall, we have 15 matches going forward. We completed and rolled out the revision of the Alive Professional Standards of Practice. And I do want to send a shout out to Emily and Jordania for leading those efforts. It took about a year to revise those standards. They're now posted on our website, and it's also evolved with training for our local associations on how to incorporate those standards into their practices, their everyday practices. We also recognize leaders in the field with our 2022 Impact Awards. And I'd like to do another shout out to Karina Sadler, Nicole Smith, Ashley Ramsdell, and Jennifer Thompson for taking the opportunity this year to really revamp that program, open it up to all people who are volunteer engagement professionals, not just within our membership, but broader than that. And this year we had 44 nominees. So of those nominees, we did select 2 different groups of Impact Award winners, and I want to send a congratulations out to that. But it took a lot of work on the part of that committee to revise it with those standards that we are moving forward. And I'm going to send you to our website so that you can learn about each and every award winner. There's a lot to learn about them, and I want to send you to that resource so you can learn more about them. We also continue to update our resource pages. We have it for both the external audience and our members, and there's more for our members, and we'll continue to do so. And then again, we co-hosted the hybrid conference. There were 42 host sites this year with over 900 participants. Moving forward, our new VP of Program and Advocacy will be Darlene Laird, and she will be responsible with the committee for this 2023 goals. Again, we'll be doing monthly Alive Academies with industry thought leaders, and we'll be including quarterly DEAI training opportunities that will be free for all attendees. We're going to continue to host our current COPs and create new ones as necessary. And we're launching the Presenters Boot Camp, which has been headed up by Paula Allen. It is currently open for registration if you're interested in learning how to do a presentation, either for an Alive Academy or elsewhere. Again, go to our website to register for that. We'll launch our next 2 rounds of the mentor program in the spring and fall, continue with our Impact Award winners and celebrate them on our website and social media. And we'll continue to offer training on our lives professional standards. We'll be adding new articles to the resource pages and again, co-hosting the 2023 hybrid conference. Next slide, please. So again, thank you to all the committee members who were able to assist with us accomplishing all of our goals. And now for the results of our membership survey. We did ask, what professional development opportunities would you like Alive to offer in the coming year? And there were several, but our top 3 were measuring and reporting impact, which if you went to the hybrid conference, you got a lot of information on that. Also strategic planning around strategic volunteer engagement. And the third one was telling compelling stories. I think that's just so important. We've learned we need data to tell our stories, but we need, so it's quantity, quality, and numbers and stories to really tell the full picture of how volunteers impact your organizations. Next slide, please. Other results from the survey showed what different programming you wanted for perhaps Alive Academies, and also some advocacy topics. So for programming training, we were looking at leadership development, adult learning techniques, project management, conflict resolution, risk assessment, retention and engagement, calculating ROI, finding funding, which we all need, and crossover career skills and growth. For advocacy topics, people were interested in self-advocacy support. They were very interested in the official job classification with the DOL, which, as Michelle has stated, we're already starting that and on our way with that. Still more support for DEAI issues, the volunteer IRS mileage reimbursement, healthcare issues, and supporting our national efforts and forum creation. Next, thank you. So once again, our program is an advocacy. We Alive co-hosted the hybrid conference, again, 42 remote locations and 900 attendees. And we'd like you to save the date for next year, which will be October 17th and the 18th. And the topic will be announced sometime in January of 2023. And next slide, please.
Kathy, I'll just jump in quickly here too and say we have some great feedback from our attendees. We'll be getting this updated on our website very soon, as well as being able to announce the topic for next year's conference very soon as well.
Thank you, Gretchen. And then I believe I'm handing it to Audrey Kidwell for the marketing report.
Hello, everybody. Just wanted to share some highlights from the member survey as it relates to the marketing. So as mentioned before, 43% of respondents believe Alive's official communication channels keep them well informed, which is really good to hear. As always, our newsletter is the favorite way to get updates. It really does contain everything you'll need to know about what's happening each month. Shout out to the 54% of respondents that read all of the newsletter each month. Thank you so much. It's greatly appreciated. And 92% of respondents visit the website at least once a month, which is really great because we did update it and it went live October 1st. And we really try to keep the website as up to date as possible. Next slide. I just want to say quickly, to say thank you to everyone who follows Alive on social media and interacts with our materials. We really appreciate you sharing about all of our events and resources with your audience. It's really helping us to grow some of our social media numbers. Please keep tagging us in materials that you also think is relevant for us to know. We keep growing in all of our social media presence. However, Facebook is the most popular with our members. And has the most interaction on a day-to-day basis. LinkedIn and Instagram are really close behind as well. Next slide. And then our group has been doing a lot of behind the scenes work this year. We updated the newsletter format in August. Again, all this great information is still there, but in a friendlier format for you to read in different variations, whether it's on your phone, a tablet, your computer. We also helped with the website migration in October. So please make sure you check out the new layout of the website. If something looks different or you're having a hard time finding information that you knew was on the older version, please let us know. We continue to create graphic social media posts and create content for the various Alive events. And then for the upcoming year, we are looking for new members to join the Alive team, the marketing team. As Alive programming grows, we have an increased need for marketing materials for creating them and getting them posted to the web. And we're also planning to host another happy hour reception in person, which is really exciting that we got to see you all this year in person at the Points of Light conference in Chicago. That's all for the marketing team updates. So I'm going to turn it back over to Michelle and Kathy.
Great, thank you. So we have an ad hoc committee for our diversity, equity, inclusion work, and so a few of the things that our ad hoc committee worked on is continuing to maintain a website resource page. So if you haven't checked that out, please do. We're committed to offering free access to any of our DEI related live academies. And so we offered those quarterly and made them free and accessible to all. And I think those had some of our biggest participation as well. We had use of that hashtag, had the committee look through different aspects of our board's work to see where we can make improvements. We worked on some resources for local associations. Something that I really enjoyed was we started each board meeting with kind of a micro training or DEI related resource or reflection topic that was helpful for kind of centering our meetings, but also for all of us professionally to take those little tidbits back. And then also at the local associations, June community practice covered recruiting board members with considerations for equity and inclusion. So a few goals for 2023 is incorporating that work into the presenter boot camp, amplifying BIPOC and LGBTQIA voices in all our events and newsletters, continuing to identify and implement those action steps that we identify by committees, identifying opportunities to collaborate with other partners in this work, explore, finding a consultant to help lead some of this work or potentially starting a community of practice, and always invite members to share additional ideas. And just a quick glance at some of our partners. So we're the fiscal sponsor for the National Alliance, partner with the Council with CCBA for a discount to receive your CVA, working with Better Impact, the hybrid conference, Impact Awards, and the Points of Light happy hour. We host IJOVA on our website and are pleased to add our new partnership with Points of Light in the Administration of Service Enterprise. And with that, I feel like I'm announcing a special cameo guest presenter with Dana Litwin, who's going to give an update on the Alliance. And Dana is also a past board member and former Alive board president.
Thanks so much, Michelle. You all have done such fantastic work. Really quick, the National Alliance for Volunteer Engagement has the big work that we've announced and done, and you'll see the results in early 2023, is we conducted the first and only of its kind survey of funders and executives, CEOs, general managers, leaders of nonprofits and government agencies, specifically on why there is a disconnect between funding strategic volunteer engagement and where that gap and that disconnect occurs. So we worked with the Do Good Institute, designed with the Alliance and other partner input, designed the surveys, 2 national surveys that were conducted kind of this summer and fall. And we've got some preliminary results. We ended up hiring the fantastic Dr. Sue Carter-Kale, Dr. Sue, to also do in-depth interviews and follow-ups with some of the funders and organizational leaders that responded to the survey to kind of dig a little deeper into some questions. And all of that can be seen when it's launched on a dedicated website, but also on the Alliance website, which I'm going to put in the chat. So feel free to go over there and check that out. And it's also important that this survey was done in the pandemic. We based the Do Good Institute and their doctors there also used some previous research as a basis or kind of a control starting point, but this is really the only time that questions about how organizations use strategic volunteer engagement, why funders do or do not fund it, how they consider it in their grant applications, that has been done in the pandemic time. So we'll have those full results and a promotional campaign to get strategic volunteer engagement in the conversations at a national and international level with entity leaders, with major funders, And all of that will be, again, reflected and mirrored on the Alliance website, and we'll have a specific campaign that's being designed right now by Mission Partners, which is a B corporation that is entirely women-owned and women-run. And we'll also, probably by spring of 2023, have a toolkit to have these conversations and case studies and these talking points so that leaders of organizations and funders and practitioners like all of you can have these conversations at all levels throughout an organization of how important it is to fund strategic volunteer engagement. And all of this dovetails and works beautifully with the work that Alive is going to be doing with service enterprise and advocacy for the labor board. So I think 2023 is really going to be an important year for this national campaign and this level of awareness being brought to entity leaders, organizational leaders, big funders, little family foundations, everyone across the board to understand the importance and really help move the profession forward in a way with proper funding that has been especially critical in the last few years. So I'm really excited to see the full analysis and results starting to come out in January. Oh, I'm seeing a couple of questions in chat. Very exciting. And Emily Bauer, who's on here, has been a part of that work as well, and a few others on the meeting today. So of course, let me know if you have any questions. I'm a facilitator of the National Alliance, and other people are on leadership teams and working groups, including Emily herself. So if you have any questions, let me know, and check out allforengagement.org, which I think I put into the chat. Let me put it in the chat just in case. There it is. Okay. Thanks, Michelle.
Awesome. Thank you, Dana. Yeah, I have gotten to see some sneak peeks of some of that research, and I am just so thrilled for it to be released this coming year. All right. Well, with that, I do want to always take a moment to thank Gretchen, our, I think it was mentioned before, a cat herder, a plate spinner. I know she's also, wears about 1 million hats, is our, unofficial Alive historian. She is certainly a mentor to me and probably to others, as well as a confidant and so many other things. And very much a leader in our field. So thank you so much, Gretchen, for all you do. You're so greatly appreciated, more than we can begin to tell you. So many thanks.
A team effort.
You got your mouse ears on. Well, I'd like to take this opportunity to invite all of you to engage with our National Association. We could not do any of this work without volunteers, and this is a chance for you to take a look at our opportunities and perhaps also volunteer with the association. You'll get to work with wonderful people who are leaders in the field and pushing our profession forward. So if you're interested in volunteering with your National Association, just check out the application, volunteeralive.org/get involved. Everything's on our website. And areas that we're always looking for help in are the finance committee. You get to work with Christy on that. And as she said, it's a fun committee. HR and policy, marketing, membership, programs, and advocacy. And you could be an Alive presenter, facilitate a community of practice. If you're interested in participating in the job analysis survey that we're working on, you could serve as a mentor. And also with Service Enterprise, now that we've acquired that, we're going to be looking for more volunteers to help with serving on the advisory council, serve on curriculum review committee. There'll probably be other ad hoc committees involved with that as well. But if you're ever interested, know that we always list our opportunities in our newsletters. So you can go there, and there'll always be a link to become a member as well. You could become a member of the Impact Award Committee too. And it's all there for you. Again, just reach out to us, and we'd be happy to pursue adding you to one of our committees. Next slide, please. So this is the chance to ask any questions. We know we're coming up on the top of the hour. We covered a lot of material. Your association has accomplished a lot this past year. Any questions for us? You can put them in the chat. And Gretchen's already put the link to Volunteer Alive if you're interested. Okay, no questions. Then we're coming down to the last 2 slides. If we can go to the next slide then, Gretchen. We just want to thank our donors again and offer you different ways to make donations. Your donations directly impact what we're able to do. So for instance, paying for Gretchen, our administrator, it goes directly to our programs as honorariums for our speakers. It goes to our CPA. It goes to our consultants. So everything to help move us forward, your donations are going directly to that and impact. So you can go to Amazon Smile and sign us up as your charity of choice, eBay for charity, or you can donate directly to us at the link below. Okay, and next slide, please. Just want to share, save the date. Our Alive Networking Social, our next one is December 5th at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. If you're interested in pursuing your CVA, we have a CVA COP, which is wonderful. And a credential information session is going to be held on December 7th at 2 p.m. Our next Alive Academy is all about the Service Enterprise Program and how Alive has acquired that and what we're doing with it. And that's December 9th at 2 p.m. And in January, our Alive Academy is Create Your Own Career Adventure on January 31st. We have a list of our upcoming COP meeting dates. We'll have our Alive Presenter Boot Camp kickoff on January 7th. And if you've registered, you'll be invited to that. And all of these can be found on our website under Calendar of Events. And you just click to the link and you register for it, and you'll immediately get a confirmation email. So we hope to see you there at all the different opportunities we have for you. And I want to take this opportunity to thank you all for being members of Alive. And we look forward to working with all of you in 2023. And that wraps up our annual meeting.
Thank you, everyone. I will end the meeting and stop the recording, and we will see you online.
Thank you, everyone.